Hi, Bother Brigade. Here's what's bothering me today. As I'm sure many of you are aware of, there is a ton of propaganda coming out of the Russo-Ukrainian war, and a lot of people have been pointing out, like, oh, this is ridiculous, look at this, and like with the censorship and stuff, and oh, who could possibly believe this? Oh, those poor Russians in there. And like, yes, true, but let's not pretend like that isn't also happening to us, right? You are not immune to propaganda. I am not immune to propaganda. No one is, which is why this is one of those moments where we have to have a really discerning and critical eye for these things because, unfortunately, misinformation abounds, and for a variety of reasons, some of which we're going to get into. And there's lots of other resources online for how to spot fake news and propaganda and just helping people to develop a critical mindset. But real quick, here's some basics that people should keep in mind whenever you're seeing something that's, anti-Russian, pro-Ukrainian, or the opposite of each one, right? Because this is happening on both sides. So here's the kind of headspace we need to be in right now. So there are 7 main types of mis- and disinformation. So there's satire or parody, which has no intention to cause harm but has potential to fool. There's misleading content, which is a misleading use of information to frame an issue or individual. There's imposter content, when genuine sources are impersonated. Fabricated content, where new content is 100% false, designed to deceive and do harm and get clicks. There's false connection, when headlines, visuals, or captions don't support the actual content. There's false context, when genuine content is shared with false contextual information. And then there's manipulated content, when genuine information or imagery is manipulated to deceive. And it's really these last two that we probably want to focus on the most, at least right now, because those are the two that I'm seeing the most of with regards to the Ukraine and Russia conflict and who's trying to put this information out there, right? So as we've seen with like various follow-ups, all of a sudden the whole Snake Island thing, oh, maybe that totally wasn't a thing, but who's really telling the truth now? And people unfortunately don't really know, and people are confused by that now of, oh, who do we believe? The bombing in Mariupol of that maternity hospital, it's not passing the sniff test for some people, saying, okay, so like, was it an abandoned hospital or recently decommissioned and like there was a target in there and only the courtyard's being used? So there's some stuff at play, but it doesn't negate the fact that that building was targeted in a Russian airstrike. But what matters is the context and the actual information behind it. So you see how this is all kind of damning, and we've seen, hopefully anyway, a lot of you have also seen, as I have, other instances online where it's showing pictures of, yes, look at this, glorious Russian army destroyed these Ukrainian tanks, and then the exact same image will be shared by someone else on Twitter saying, aha, look at our brave Ukrainian soldiers destroying these Russian tanks. It's like, so which one of you is telling the truth? Because one of you is lying. Or, oh, look at these prisoners that we got. And then it's, are they prisoners of Russia or of Ukraine? And look, see, we're letting this Russian guy call home. Or is that just a Ukrainian who happens to speak Russian that they frame for that to show how civil they are and demonize the other side, right? I just want to focus on like the scale of the problem that we have with disinformation and with propaganda and some other things that we can do to kind of keep in mind when we see something that stirs an immediate emotion or a response in us. How misinformation and disinformation is produced is directly related to who the author is and the different reasons why it's created. Who are the authors? They may be someone wanting to make money regardless of the content of the article, satirists who want to either make a point or entertain you or both, poor or untrained journalists. The pressure of the 24-hour news cycle as well as the explosion of news sites may contribute to shoddy writing that doesn't follow professional journalistic standards or ethics. Partisans who want to influence political beliefs and policymakers. So those are some helpful tips, but there's also other things we can do, like do a reverse image search, actually ask credible experts where this is very much their wheelhouse and not some random pundit that they threw onto the news at 7 o'clock at night. You understand? So there's a lot to actually kind of parse through and to consider, and there's plenty more information and resources out there. Like, you could like find stuff that's for your kids to help them start developing this. There's like notes and articles from various other news organizations or university that are also very helpful in terms of how you can spot and like dissect propaganda and misinformation and fake news and stuff like that. And so, with all that in mind, right, and with all the other examples I listed about the propaganda coming from both the Russians and the Ukrainians, now is the time to really look at things with a critical eye and not just go, whole hog, 100%, black and white, no gray area whatsoever. This whole situation and its history between Russia and Ukraine, it defies simplicity. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people trying to make it this super simplistic thing that just does not hold water. And people on both sides, whether they are Russian or Ukrainian, have very real and understandable in some cases and valid reasons to push some of their propaganda for their reasons or for the state, for, again, a variety of reasons. So don't expect either side to really tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, in other words. But unfortunately, I am seeing way too many people doing surface level analysis and trusting everything immediately when it comes their way. It's disturbing, distressing, and it's definitely what's bothering me today.